What's up, everybody? It's Josh, JoshOptical, Guitars Ruin Lives, and I'm here at my home place where I grew up. My folks still live. I'm dog sitting, and it's got me in an acoustic mood. I brought my stuff for electric guitar, and it just feels wrong. It just feels wrong to play it in here. So I'm in the mind of some acoustic tunes. I'm cold. Everything I play is going to be real butchered because I'm really uncomfortable physically, but I wanted to go over this tune, Whiskey Before Breakfast. There's a million ways to play it. Mine is not the same as anyone else's, but as I learned from John Hartman, Danbury person here, a long time ago when I started learning these tunes, I played something back to him and I was like, is that it? And he said, that's every bit as authoritative as what I play. And I learned a lot in that moment. John has a pithy way with words, and I learned a lot in that moment, although it took me a long time to unpack it, which was, when it comes to these traditions, these living traditions, you've got to get close to the tradition. You've got to get close to some kind of authority as far as where the tune comes from and the people who have recorded it definitively before and people who played it, and it's a living tradition. So what you're playing, you know, this isn't Bach. It wasn't written down to be played in a precise way. I don't even know if Bach wanted his stuff to be played that way. Maybe we can have a debate, but that's not what it's about. It's about getting real close to the spirit of it, and then I'm not going to say doing your own thing with it, because I don't think that's quite right either, but at least letting your own personality shine through the tune. So I actually want to start with the rhythm. This tune used to intimidate me so much because it has a lot of chords move quick. So this, in the most basic sense, would be the chords. 2, 3, 4. D, G, D, A, D, G, D, A, D. So quick changes there. This is the B part. D, A, G, D, G, D, A, D. That'll scare you real bad when you've only been playing for about a year. D, A, G, D, G, D, A, D. Mess that up real bad at the end. So that's the melody, and of course is written presumably on a fiddle for a fiddle. So every time you translate it to a different instrument, then the instrument gets to have its say, because a fiddle doesn't have 6 strings and it doesn't have the same open pitches. It has, you know, 4 of them, but not the same other 2, and they're a different register, and everything is set up differently. So it's going to encourage you to do different things, basically because of what's easy on an instrument. And I used to fight that, and you don't want to get totally stuck in just what's easy on your instrument. But at the same time, like, it's easy to jump off of a flat surface. I don't know. It's easy to, you know, there's certain things to do, and when you're playing basketball that are easy because of the way the court's set up and everything else. There's certain moves that make sense. It makes sense why they're common. So there's nothing wrong with doing common things that are common to your instrument, and in fact, you should know how to do them. But it's good not to be too locked into them. So the way that I play this tune, the most straightforward way I might play it is something like this. That's kind of Norman Blakey, the way he would do it. I'm not saying that he would play this tune that way, but he's big on actually, instead of trying to blaze through a billion notes the way that modern bluegrass is played, he a lot of times would just outline chord tones. He'd let, you know, what some people might play is 2 eighth notes. He might just play a quarter note in its place, let the chord tones speak. So like in this beat, the second part of that portion where I went, where I actually would normally play something like that, I might instead do a Blakeish thing and just go, which is him outlining the G chord and then the D chord. Not going to get too detailed about what exact notes those are. And then this, which would work over the E minor. That's 1, 1, 2, 3 relative to the E minor, and then fits into the A7 as well. Something like that. I play things really simple. I really play them like kids' songs, like nursery rhymes. I think that's it's easy for me to figure out because you don't have as many notes. And I used to feel bad about that too, like, I should do something harder. And then it's just like, why? You know, some people like to do a bunch of stuff, and I would love to be able to if I could just take a pill and do it. But as far as my focus with the time that I do spend playing guitar, I'm more interested in getting a good tone, which I'm not particularly doing tonight because I'm out of practice on the acoustic, and again, I'm freezing. I'm focused on getting a good tone and really outlining the crucial things and playing things in a beautiful way. That's my perspective. I'm more interested in trying to make something simple, speaking, beautiful than I am in trying to do a bunch of stuff. Let's look at the B part. So this tune, like a lot of fiddle tunes, has an A part and a B part. Oftentimes, well, I'll just go with that. The B part. Repeat that. And that tag there at the end, it could be I've gotten into that one lately. So again, just different flavors of the same thing. It's like salt. On the one hand, it all tastes like salt. On the other hand, there's a million kinds, so you got to have your own flavor to the salt. As far as how I've been playing the B part lately, I'm doing this. Getting a little fancy there when I go to the E minor. Trying to get that to ring and in tune is pretty tough. So I've gone from the D chord, which I outlined with the arpeggio. Not strictly speaking an arpeggio, but I'll leave it to the music geeks to correct me. That's all on the D chord. That's where I do the fancy thing. So I start with this. Basically, it's like I'm taking this D chord and feeding it into what's kind of like an E minor 9 chord by including the F sharp there. So too much geek talk. What I mean is it sounds like this. So from there, I'm just pulling off to the E, and then we get an E minor triad there. Did you know you have an E minor there? It's built into your guitar. Isn't that nice? So. Listen to a lot of Irish and Celtic inspired music, especially from a guy named Gray Larson. When I was born, I was listening to him in the delivery room, but then later I heard him as a teenager, and that influenced me a lot too. Those little, the kind of things that you might do if you were playing a flute, and it's really easy to go ba-da-la by just lifting a finger. Again, talking about things that are idiomatic of an instrument. Idiomatic meaning they kind of belong to the way that an instrument generally is played, and that usually boils down to what's easy, what is easy, physically easy on the instrument. It's real easy on a keyboard to go right through a C major scale. It's really, really not easy to do that flute. You know, it took a lot of training to be able to do that right there on a guitar, and it still wasn't anywhere near as fast as I could do it on a piano if I went right. Some things are easy on an instrument, and that's okay, just being aware of it, not over leaning into it. This is another one I've worked up. Again, looking at my arpeggios. So here I'm on the D chord. This is the second part of the B part. After done ba da 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 da. Normally you could play something very linear. Something more sequential. I wanted to do something a little more fancy there because I thought it was a nice place to introduce some floating notes, some kind of open notes and all those. 1, 5, 3, 1. Do, so, mi, do. And then to the A chord. 2 of the same notes. And then I go on with the sequential melodic color by numbers thing. Kind of it. There wasn't a real specific focus to this sharing. I wouldn't even call it a lesson, just kind of sharing. But I wanted to get into it, so I'm going to play it a little bit more and show you what I might do with the rhythm. I like syncopation. Then you could do something more like a contra guitar player might do and just kind of run the bass line under a static chord on top. Builds tension. Then when you do change chords, all of a sudden, you'll see. There's a lot more energy to the movement. Start replacing some chords. You can always replace the 1 with the minor 6. So this normally would be the D. I'll repeat that. I can always play a B minor in the place of a D. Should you? No. Can you? Yes. So where it would normally be a that's a B minor, by the way. B minor 7. Now I can sort of play. I'm getting a little bit warmed up. Anyway, y'all, thanks for indulging that. Just wanted to share my perspective a little bit on flat picking, a little bit on these fiddle tunes, British Isles music that's come along. I shouldn't just say British Isles. There's Ireland too, not a British Isle. And just share that kind of perspective with you. So thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you want to see, what you want to hear. I will do my best to create it in some fashion in a way that might be helpful or valuable to you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.